turning it over. Come on, gyroscope. Thank you, gyroscope, or whatever you are. Okay. Tape. Magnifying glass. Ink. Okay, move this as high up as I can get it, so it's out of my way. And I can see what I'm doing here. And here I am. So, what am I doing? I found a pen when I was looking for a different pen yesterday, and I've been looking for that other pen for like 6 months. It was in exactly the drawer that it was supposed to be in. Now why, and I looked for it in that drawer, and the drawer has 20 pens in it only. And I looked at it, trying to find the pen, and there it was, finally. All I had to do was just look a little, this much harder. How much harder is that? That much. Less than an inch harder. That's all I had to do. And the more complicated question is, why couldn't I do it? Why couldn't I take that extra inch and do something with it? That's the question. Look at those teeth. You know, when I see teeth marks like this, I think, you know, of some magnate, you know, powerful magnate at a big, big desk with 8 or 9 telephones, and he's buy, sell, sell, sell. Chomp, chomp, chomp on the pen. Buy on the stocks, on the market. Clang, clang, clang on the bells. Chomp, chomp, chomp on my skyline. You know? This is a nib that I'm trying to love. It's a nib that's Johnny One Note most of the time. Can I put the right cap on this? Here, this cap can go here. Is it the right color? Of course it isn't. Small size, large size. But these are the wrong colors. So can I unscrew this? That unscrews. Does this unscrew? It unscrews. Are they the right types? These Skylines had many different kinds of caps. Some had, see, now that doesn't fit at all. Does this fit here? Okay, this fits there. Does this screw on here? That screws on there. So this is now correct and complete. Brown Derby. I think this might have been red, but it's sort of faded to brown. Brown with all the chomping. Okay, now this one, on the other hand, this slides in and out. This does not have a good threading. So let's see, does this unscrew? This does unscrew. Does it unscrew correctly? Yes. Maybe by swapping these two. What am I doing here, Pierre? Sometimes they stop screwing right now. That one screws. This one screws. Okay. These are both the same size, and this is, well, I guess these are the same size too. This doesn't go on this one though. Oh, look at that. See, this doesn't screw. See what I've done? That's useless. It screws on here, doesn't it? See, that screws on. This is why fixing pens from parts you have is a never-ending process, because there's always something that doesn't work. Okay, is this done? Can I call this one done? This is done. Needs a sack. This is done. Needs a sack. Sack. I'm going to make a little drawer that has a place for sacks. This slides in and out, so that's not good. Does this unscrew? Yes. Is this the right kind of threading? Yes. Come on, unscrew, damn you. It doesn't want to unscrew. So I'm going to screw it back. Just leave this the way it is. Maroon. What a maroon. This goes on here, and that needs a sack. Okay. What I'm going to do is put pens in a drawer over here that just say need sacks. And just let it be. This one has some weird stuff happening up here, which is funny. I don't know what it means, but it's not going to bother me because this pen is going to be aimed to the user. I mean, to the, I'll be able to sell this pen cheaply, presumably, to a calligrapher or an artist. And many calligraphers and many artists do not care about the cosmetic. Look at this. This is one of those. No, it isn't one of those. I thought it was one of those demi sizes, but it really isn't. The rare demi size, because if that were the case, it wouldn't even come close to threading. So are these correct? No, see, this is long. There's long barrels and there's short barrels. And the long barrels go with the long cap and the short barrels go with the short cap. That makes sense, doesn't it? Long goes with long, except that doesn't fit. This one fits here, so this is correct. So this is going to go to get sacked. Okay, somewhere I have more skylines. Here. This is burgundy. Can I swap these caps? Yes. So now these both screw on, which is what we want. This needs a nib. See, this doesn't fit though. Fuck. Now there is a way to do a slight repair. You take a little piece of paper or masking tape or plumbing tape or something like that, and you just put a little tiny bit on, a little square right there, and that'll be enough friction to make it work. Okay, this one. This is another little issue up here, which I'm not going to worry about. What else? What other issues does it have? May need a little bit of paper or tape here to make this a little tighter, which again is a legitimate repair. You're not harming anything. You're not gluing something that will never unglue. You're providing the correct amount of, is this the right, is this the small one? I can never tell. I can never tell. Are these all small? See, one of these is big. This is small. Okay, small, short. These are all large. So is this a large cap? I do have a drawer full of short caps and long caps, so I don't have to do what I'm doing now. Which is wasting your time. Okay, this one is blue. No, it isn't blue. Is it blue? It is blue. These need nibs. Edit for skylines. Okay, these need nibs. These need sacks. What does this need? A life. This needs a sack, I bet. Yes, it needs a sack. This is another, this is sort of one of the last ditch efforts that Eversharp was making. And kind of a symphony pen-like thing. This has a sack. What does it need though? Pressure bar? I did have once upon a time a drawer that was full of pens that needed pressure bars. I think I need to relabel and restock these drawers correctly. Look at this nice nib. The Venus President. This is like the one I gave to Peter Draws and started him on his bumpy road to pen collecting. He was perfectly happy, I think, with his. Okay, this is all ready to go. It just needs, its pressure bar is a little screwy. So where did I put my tools? I got him started on this, and he is among the not rare he's among the people that sometimes believe that you need to spend a lot of money to get a good pen. And or you're of the belief that why would you spend more than $10 on a pen or something. He's sort of in between, because he's quite often fond of saying how much pens cost. I think he's changed his mind about that. I think he realizes that some pens are worth every penny they cost. Some of them are, of course, way overpriced. And but I think he's getting to the point where he now understands pricing. But I was going to send him a little assortment of pens that he could try out. And they were all going to be perfectly good working pens, just less expensive varieties, or pens that have a minor flaw in them that he can buy inexpensively or less expensively than a handsomer version of the pen, and it'll still write perfectly fine. And I never got around to doing that. So this is ready to go. I have an Urban Sketchers thing today at noon, or 11 o'clock, and I may bring some of these pens for my fellow sketchers to try if they want. And they don't have to try them today. I'll give them to them. I'll say, I'll see you next week. Try them out, draw with them for a week. And these are all, they're not entirely strangers. They're almost strangers. Some of them I've only just met one time for 2 hours. But I trust them because, 2 hours of their life they spent drawing something. And, if they spent 2 hours of their time hacking into other people's computers or pretending to be, I get these, quote, females that somehow, quote, want me, unquote, on Instagram, and they start, oh, let's go to WhatsApp. No, let's not. And their English is, I'm from I'm from Texan. You? And I said, you're from Texas? What city in Texas? And they misspelled Dallas or something. And their next sentence has the wrong verb tense or something. And I talk about Texan schools system. Oh, your school system, you must have been a horrible student. What? Why are you disrespecting me? Well, for one, you're a hairy old man in the basement somewhere trying to hack into my account, right? No, I play along with them. I pretend that they are, in fact, women from wherever they say they're from. They all have humongatoid boobs, all of these hackers. And it's sort of fun to play. So I wouldn't loan them a pen. How did I get on this topic? Because they're spending 2 hours of their time trying to break into my account. But the guy or the girl, the dame that is in Urban Sketchers, and he or she is drawing, the beautiful trees in the public garden or whatever. I can hand them a pen, and I'll say, I'll see you next week. Oh, are you sure? And I said, yes. Or if I don't see you next week, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And, you know, one person bought a pen from me, another person did not. He wants to buy a pen, but the nib that on the pen that he got, he didn't like as much as I thought he might. This one, what does this need? This is one of those ugliest pens in the world. Pens, the Fifth Avenue. There's something kind of neat about the smallest one. Because it does fit nicely in your, discreetly in your hand like this. You wouldn't even know that I have a pen in here and I'm taking notes. No one knows I'm taking notes. They're just thinking I have a nervous tick or something. And here I'm recording every last word, which I will leak to the press. President Trump, former President Trump said, if they only let me buy Greenland, it would be perfect. I would have won. Count the Greenland votes. Do a Greenland audit. Yeah, let's find how many people in Greenland voted for you, Mr. President. Why are you disrespecting me? This clip is bent to heck. If I can make it slightly tighter. For God's sake. Okay, are you going to post or not? This is one that actually writes relatively smoothly. A lot of these nibs don't. What's this one? Why is this here? Ooh. Now this one, if I remember correctly, yes. This one is very boingy boingy-y. And it's very boingy boingy-y because the crack continues from the breather hole all the way down to the 4 of 14 karat. But as you can see, it's functional. So this is something that I could use to do a set of calligraphed place cards before it dies on me. And you know, it might as well die with its boots on. But it will die. Okay, that will move to my desk. This one, is this going to move to my desk? I don't think this needs to move to my desk, but it's a pen that I don't have a cap for which I do not have a cap. Stanford and Bennett. Does it have a Stanford and Bennett nib? It is a Carter's nib. I'll move it to my desk too. I'll eventually find a Carter's pen to put it in, but I don't have it on hand now. So these all need sacks. So where are they going to go? What drawer am I going to use for the sack? Just need sacks. That's going to be right here. In fact, I'm going to make a little a little card for that. Little label. Well, that's like way too big. It's only slightly too big. I had a really nice time chatting with Russell yesterday for a little bit. We sort of caught up on our lives, and trying to figure out how we can help each other remain happy, which is sort of hard to do in this world of gloom and doom. Okay, let me do this. How do you spell sacked? SACCED? 2B SACCED. Exclamation point. Let's make this be excited. Now, before we wait it to let it dry, let's slide it in and smear the ink. That's an important part of being impatient. I know, let's paint this park bench. Gee, that was a good job. I'm going to sit down and read the paper. And you stand up and it's striped. See, look at what I did. Well, here, I'll just show you. Slid it down and it all smeared. See, but that's okay. That's okay. To be sacked. Perfect. Now you go under the you crawl under the undried white picket fence, and you suddenly have a skunk named Pippi after you, or you sit on the park bench in your black suit, and then you stand up to go back to your stockbrokership office, and the police chase after you because they think you're a criminal because you've got your black suit is now striped with white paint. Okay, this is one of those pens. I have to learn to love it. Maybe these pens are the ones that just go to the stockbrokers. Sell, evict. You know, those people. Okay, do we need a sack on this pen? This is a Harris pen that has a steel nib, which is very, this one even works. "14 karat" it says, and then in smaller letters underneath, gold plate. So I'm not even, it does work, it does have a sack, but this one is a Moore pen, and I put a steel nib in this one. It had a steel nib in it originally, but I put a different steel nib in it. And this needs to be sacked. So this will be good for a certain kind of calligraphy because it's a stub nib, very smooth. But I like the little zigzaggy chicken wire approach to its design. It has a visualated section, as you can see. So this is ready to be sacked. I think this is worthy, even though it's one of the mores that they made sort of late in life with steel nibs. And but it's, Lasky Squirrel would say, it has a nice finish. And I have a collection of pens that have, quote, nice finishes. Maybe I'll keep this for myself. Hello, Aaron. Pen and ink with watercolor treatment. What are you asking? Is that a question or a statement, or are you describing the debris field that I have in front of me? I think I'll keep this. It'll go in my keeper bin, just because I can't really sell that for very much, because it has this. Does this just need a sack? This needs a pressure bar. Pressure bar, oh pressure bar. So this will be pressure bars. It's going to be this one has a piece of paper already in it. Now what did this say? Children. It said children. Well, I'm going to use this piece of paper just because it's so old, and I'm going to do PB. I know what that means. It means pressure bar. Now I'm going to spell out pressure bar. No, I'm not. I don't have room. P, peanut butter. P, pressure hyphen bar. And that's, I think this is dry enough. It's not gonna, okay, are you gonna go in? Good. Aaron, have we talked before? Your name sounds a little tiny bit familiar. Pressure bar. Okay, what about this one? This needs a section. This needs a nib. There are some that needed pressure bars. Where did I put them? Here. Now these need nibs. I need a drawer that says nibs. And I've got nibs for all these pens. I could just, oh, is this a pressure bar? No, this is a sack. So all this needs is a sack. Goes in the sack drawer. Right? Yes, sack. Nib. Nib. I'm going to go there. Now, what I'm gonna do is just write the word nib. Nib. Oops. nib. This is a pen that has a scratchy sound to it. Can I fix that scratchy sound, do you think? Now, there is a reason to have a nib that has a scratchy sound. There are two functions for a nib that writes scratchy. One is to use in the theater, where you want someone in the back row, standing room only, obscured vision seat, to hear this pen making Simon Legree signing the eviction notice. You want to hear that from across the room in the back row. And if a pen is really smooth, you can't hear that. What about this pen? Now, this is a pen that I was going to keep for myself. It's a Wasp Add-a-Point, I think. Add-a-Point. So, attaboy. So this needs a sack and it needs an add-a-point. This is it's like an Esterbrook, but it was made by the Schaefer company. And otherwise it's in good shape, so I'm going to keep that. If I have a duplicate, I will sell it. This pen needs everything. This is just a nib waiting to be removed. Look, another add-a-point. Well, I realize now that I don't need Okay, this is an add-a-point. Okay, I need both of these. This is a vacuum fill. So let's, boss, what do? We don't have any more add-a-points. Okay, well, use that stock and stamp it with the vacuum fill, and we'll see if we can get a new set of chumps to buy these. So I've got two pens in my collection now. I know they look alike, but they're not. This is an add-a-point, and the other one is a vacuum fill. Why is my life so difficult? Why can't I just say, I don't need either one of these pens? I can throw both of these pens away. This is an Eclipse pen, I think. Probably isn't, come to think of it, because it would have a different lever, but it all works together fine. And this is going to be usable by me for a Franken pen. So what we're going to do, we're going to set that in to just soak out the feed so that I can put that in a box that I'm using just for myself. What about this? What's wrong with this thing? Okay, it's one of these. Works. There's a sack in it, has a visualated section. It has a tuck away cap, which it probably wouldn't have if it were, it should have a cap that has a long clip. But I don't think I have a cap that has a long clip. this work? No, see, this is the fat one. FX Technol, that's the one that you want. This doesn't screw on at all. It's supposed to, but the threads are all shitty. This is another fat one. Where's the fat one? These are both fat. Does this fit on here? Look, that does fit on there. Does this fit over here? No. And the ring comes off. You know, it's just, and then, see, this would have 2 lifetime things. We don't want that. Pen, we are sentencing you to 2 lifetimes. Now, how does that work? How does that work again? You die, and then they haul your corpse to a different cell. I know that that wasn't going to fit. I could tell that without even trying it on. Does this need a sack? This just needs a sack. It may need an O-ring as well, but I don't even want to deal with that. I'll just put it in the sack drawer. And if it works, a scratchy nib. What's this one need? This is the one. Did I just? No, I did not just. This has a broken Triumph nib. Another double ender. So these don't go together. Okay, can I put this on that other one? No, that would make it another double ender. It fits here, but it would be 2 lifetimes. Should I just put it together and keep it? That's an option. You know, this is like giving birth to a baby with 3 eyeballs. You know, it's they're 50% better. So I'll just keep this for myself. Put this on my desk. And one day I'll find no, yes, no. This needs a lever. Really nice nib on it though, very fine. I could maybe do this. Can I do this? I don't think this is going to fit. No. See, it doesn't fit. I could have told you that. I could have told you that before. So this pen, okay, so let's pretend this was my pen, the only pen I had. I could put a sack on it, and to fill it, all I have to do is just unscrew it and squeeze it with my little fingers, and it would be perfectly fine. And these kind of nibs, these kind of pens that have that kind of issue, I'm happy to use at my desk where no one can see me doing that out of embarrassment. Yes, I can hear you saying, why didn't you just put a lever in it, Pierre? Why are you so goddamn lazy? And I'd say, well, because I just don't have time to do that. It could also be used as a coin fill, matchstick fill. Oh, maybe it doesn't have a pressure bar. It does not have a pressure bar either. So I couldn't do that. But let me do this. Let me put a sack on it anyway. This is, again, a pen repair. I could say, this pen, if it had a lever in it, it would cost X dollars. But if you want to fill it this way, it's a perfectly usable pen, and it's going to cost half X. And with that extra money that you have, you can buy another pen. You can have two pens, one with a fine nib, one with a broad nib, and think of how much fun that'll be. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, people do that. I do that. And if I can do that, and if I can make it fashionable so that other people do that, I don't know if you can, yes, you can see that my shellac has no lid. Well, you sort of want really gummy shellac or sticky. You want it to be sticky. If it's just right out of the brand new jar, it tends to be very loosey-goosey, and consequently, when you put a sack on using that, it ends up sliding off. So good. So this is a very fine nib. I can put this on my desk with the pen that's broken. What was wrong? This is the double-headed pen. Does this have a sack on it? Does have a sack. Does have a lever as well, so I don't need to do anything with this one. These pens, the pens that screw in like this and have a lever, to get it to screw in where the lever lines up with the top of the nib, that's not always doable. I know I can probably find a cap that I can swap this out for which I can swap, but I don't even want to bother. Life is too short. Can I do this? No, see, it doesn't fit. Let's go in this drawer. It needs a pressure bar and a nib. And what is this? This is a clipper, which is another Schaefer product. Nib. I just saw it here. This. What does this need? Okay, this is a Elco, Aiken Lambert Company pen. Needs a pressure bar. It's cute. Put this in the pressure bar bin. And the time it takes me to put it in the pressure bar drawer, I could have put a pressure bar in the pen. I'm just saying. No, that isn't quite true. Okay, what does this need? A Dixie. This needs a nib. Probably needs a pressure bar as well. No, it has a pressure bar. Needs a nib. Otherwise, a perfectly usable pen. So that goes in the nib thing. Needs a clip, which I can't fix. What does this need? Why is this here? Needs a sack. May need an O-ring. Really, really sweet nib. Really, really fine. It's probably in my keeper bin, but I don't need that. Okay, be sacked. Okay. This. No, this isn't the top. This is one of those secretary pen pencil things. And it's jade green in color. Do I have the cap that goes with this? See, I may be able to put this pencil part on another one that needs a pencil. What does this need? A sack. And maybe there's a crack here. It's not good. Really nice nib though. See, that's the problem. I like these nibs too much. I may have a barrel that can fit on this, fit with this. And it's a little ringy thingy. God, what a sweet nib. So I'm going to, with the Urban Sketchers today, I'm going to Beacon Hill, and I thought I would maybe draw the brownstones, but I was corrected. They're not brownstones, they're red brick. Yes. And I have a book about colonial architecture. Maybe I'll bring that. It has big margins. Maybe I'll just draw in that. What are your thoughts? Books these days are becoming so undesired because they take up space And you can find things on Wikipedia, but holding a book in your hand, there's something special about that. So why, you're asking, why would I take something special like that and ruin it by scribbling in it with your lousy handwriting, with your lousy drawings? Well, my drawings are not entirely lousy, and I'm thinking that, oh look, well, listen. Actually, sounds like it might work. So I'm going to bring this with me. Maybe what I'll do is I'll find a nice brownish red ink and do my drawings all in the ink that match the buildings I'll be drawing. New England architecture, I think it says. So that's my plan. What do you think about it? Okay, now what kind of cap can go on this thing? Not that one. I'll just leave this the way it is. So I'll bring this pen with me. I want to bring a pen that is broad, so I can fill in deep shadows. King. What does this need? A nib. What does this need? A piston, which I don't fix myself. Oh, maybe it works. I'll just put this in my collection. I'll pretend it works. What does this need? A nib. I know that the clip is really loose on here, and I don't know what's wrong with it. What's wrong with this pen? I know something's wrong with it. Maybe nothing. Let me find a nib for it. I'll find a nib for it now, Pierre. What are you wasting your time for? You have warranted nibs right in front of you somewhere. Right here. Let's find one that fits. Okay, this is too small. Is this just right? This is a little too big. I'm reminded of the movie Kind Hearts and Coronets. Your mouth is a little too... Louis, tell me about why you like me so much, says Ms. Greeno, whatever her name is. Oh, Louis. Well, what I would say about you is your mouth is a little too broad. Your eyes are a little too few. No, he doesn't say too few. He says too big or too small or too something. I don't know what, but he just goes on and on and on with all of her flaws. But he does it in such a way that, and he ends sort of happily saying how beautiful it all is together, even though each one independently is awful. Oh, why did I even bother putting that one in? So I was telling you why there are two reasons to have a scratchy nib. One is to play to the back row of the theater, and the other one is to use when you're applying for a job or taking a test where you're surrounded by other people applying for that same job or taking that same test. And you want to get them all frazzled by using a really scratchy pen. And you might fail at you might score very low on your test, but presumably the other people, because of their being so annoyed with you, will be fidgety and score equally poorly. Now, warranted nibs are not always very good. This is what I want, though. I want this kind of nib. Now, does this screw on? Yes. So this will be the pen I will take with me to do the broad lines when I draw today. I've got my thin pen and I've got my thick pen. What I better do is find that book. The book actually has really nice paper. But the paper has a slight tooth to it. So I may end up splattering, and this is a little too long. I would normally, have the feed come out a little bit more, but the feed is really tight in here and I don't want to break it. And it seems very tight against the nib. So I think this might function. I wonder if I should use this ink on today's drawings. It's sort of a terracotta-y red. It won't be too bad. So let's try that. Let's fill this up with this ink. I'm pressing it 3 times, not that I have to necessarily, but I am. So this pen is probably made somewhere in Europe. It has that sort of look to it. To me, it seems to me the clip is really loose on this. It would rattle and move around, but I tightened it so it doesn't do that. Okay, good. So this is one pen I'll bring, and then I'll bring this pen. That's the one that has the really fine nib. Every once in a while I'm asked to do house portraits. Okay, see this, there's a crack here, so the pressure that is supposed to happen is not really happening. So I'm going to fill it like this. And then just screw this on. Oh, close this off first. Screw this on. And this is, yeah, this is broken. The threads are broken as well. So it doesn't really, it's not very airtight. I probably have a barrel that I can eventually put on this pen. This ink is really, really watery. So I may have to add some real ink, refill it with real ink. There's also, of course, whatever ink was on the feed and behind the nib as well, mixing in. Let me see if I can find that book. Kitty, do you know where that book is? No, you don't know. You haven't a clue. Well, I'll explain what I want to do. I can't find the book yet, but I think I know where it is. I just have to move shit to find it. So here's a book called Lost Fish. And what I did was I did drawings of fish in the margin. And inspired by the fish that are depicted over here. I drew them over here because it's kind of a stupid book. You know, these quotation marks alone should tell you which class of books it belongs. Stupid ones or ones that aren't stupid. Oh, that's a stupid book. Stupid book. The book I'm going to ruin with my drawings of buildings today is not a stupid book. It's actually quite a beautiful book, which I will make more beautiful by including original drawings. And I'm down to 10%. So I'm going to turn this off now and be back a little later. I'm going to see if I can find that book. Bye.